Hello everybody, this is Tucker Miller here again, and tonight, like I said, for my next movie review, I'm gonna be reviewing on the very last Disney animated film to be in the Silver Age era, and the very last Disney film to be supervised by Walt Disney himself, and that is The Jungle Book. Came out in 1967. So anyways, let's get to the plot. So the plot of this movie is we got this man cub named Mowgli, who is this character. Mowgli was raised by a family of wolves in the jungles of India, and however, years later, there's this tiger named Shere Khan who hates men, and Shere Khan has returned to this area of the jungle, so the wolves sent, so this panther named Bagheera decided to send Mowgli back to the man village. So, yeah, but however, Mowgli does not want to go back to the man village. But Bagheera keeps telling Mowgli he has to go back to the man village. So, yeah, and then Mowgli met this bear named Baloo, who was voiced by Phil Harris, and Mowgli and Baloo got along quite well, and then they had fun together, and yeah, but however, Bagheera and Baloo had to do everything they can to send Mowgli back to the men village. So yes, so it's up to Bagheera and Baloo to send Mowgli back to the men village, and that's basically what the plot is. Now, what could I say about The Jungle Book? This is a great classic. A great classic from 1967. So, yeah, great classic from 1967. And, yeah. This is a really great movie. Another great Disney classic. And a very special one, too. This is a very special Disney film. In my opinion. This is a very special Disney film. In my opinion. Anyone can agree this is a very special Disney movie, I should say. So, yeah. The reason why to me, this is a very special Disney movie is because, well, it is the very last Disney animated film to be supervised by Walt Disney himself. Yeah, this is the very last Disney animated film to be supervised, or the very last Disney film in general to be supervised by Walt Disney himself. Which is very sad that this was the very last Disney film to be supervised by Walt Disney himself. Because Walt Disney himself, he died during the production of this film back in 1966. And this movie would come out a year later, October 1967. Which, yeah, it is pretty sad that Walt Disney died during the production of this movie. And this was the very last Disney film to have Walt Disney's himself to be supervised by Walt Disney himself. So, yeah. Jungle Book was the very last Disney film The Jungle Book was the very last Disney film to be supervised by Walt Disney before he sadly passed away a year before this movie came out, 1966. And this film would come out in 1967. So, yeah. This is a very special Disney film, at least in my opinion. Yeah, because, like I said, this is the very last Disney film to be supervised by Walt Disney. Before he passed away during production. So yeah, back in 1966, and then a year later in 1967, this movie came out in theaters back in October of 1967. So yeah, very special Disney film in my opinion. Maybe some of you, everyone else, some people can also agree with me that this is a very special film for the Walt Disney Studio. So yeah. But anyways, Jungle Book, great classic. It has a great story, and also not to mention, the Jungle Book is based on the Rudyard Kipling's novel of the same name. So yeah, this is based on the Rudyard Kipling's novel of the same name. So yeah, this is based on the novel by Rudyard Kipling's, again, of the same name. So yeah, anyways, the Jungle Book. It has a great story, great animation, great characters, great songs. Everything about this movie is so wonderful. I love this movie. I really love this film. It's somewhere in my top, it's somewhere in my top 20, probably. Maybe I would probably rank this movie, I'm not sure yet. I'll have to think about it when I'm getting ready to do my ranking of all the Disney animated films from worst to best when the time comes. So, yeah. Yeah, but I would say it's definitely somewhere in my top 10 and 20s. I really loved it. I love this film. I love The Jungle Book. It's just a very special film for the Disney company. So, yeah. Yeah. And yeah, rest in peace to Walt Disney. Because, like I said before, this is the very last Disney film to be supervised by Walt Disney. So, yeah. Because he died a year before this movie came out, 1966. And the film would actually come out in 1967. So, yeah. Yeah, Walt Disney died the year before this movie came out. Walt Disney died back in December of 1966. And while this film came out in October of 1967. But I already mentioned that already, so I already say that several times, so I'm not gonna say it again. So, yeah. Walt Disney sadly passed away during the production of this film. So anyways, I said it several times, so I'm not gonna bother repeating myself, so yeah. But anyways, Jungle Book. I just really love this film. I really enjoyed it. It's just a really good movie, I should say. So anyways, let's talk about the characters, shall we? Mowgli, he is a great character. Yeah, Mowgli is a great character, and Bagheera, who is the panther, Bagheera, he is a great character too. And King Louie, who is the orangutan, King Louie, he's a great character, and Kaa, who is the snake, who is voiced by Sterling Holloway, which we all know he voiced two other Disney characters, which were the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland, and he also voiced Winnie the Pooh. So yeah, Sterling Holloway voiced Kaa in this film, and Sterling Holloway also voiced the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland, and of course Sterling Holloway was best known for his voice as Winnie the Pooh. So yeah, yeah, so anyways, Sterling Holloway voiced the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland, carved from this film, and of course Winnie the Pooh, which that's what he's best known for, Winnie the Pooh. So yeah, and I would definitely have to say Sterling Holloway did a great job voicing him. Or yeah, Sterling Holloway did a great job voicing Car, the snake. So yeah. And of course, Shere Khan, he is a great villain. I like Shere Khan. Shere Khan, he is a great villain. And of course, yeah, Shere Khan the tiger, he is a great villain. And the elephants, the elephant troop, they're great characters. Even the little baby elephant was a cute character. So was the father, the lead elephant, and he was a great character. And the female elephant, I forgot what her name was, but the main female elephant, was voiced by Verma Velton. Then the same Verma Velton, the same voice actress behind Mrs. Jumbo from Dumbo, the fairy godmother from Cinderella, the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland, Aunt Sarah from Lady and the Tramp, and Florida from Sleeping Beauty. And yeah. And yeah. Yeah, and fun fact, the elephant that Verma Velton voiced was the very last character that Verma Velton voiced. Because, again, which I looked it up, and interesting enough, Verma Velton died a day before Walt Disney himself. Verma Velton sadly passed away on December 14th, 1966, while Walt Disney died the day after, December 15th, 1966. So yeah, not only around the same time, not only we lost Walt Disney himself, we also lost another great Disney actress, Verma Velton, which she voiced characters like Mrs. Jumbo, the Fairy Godmother, the Queen of Hearts, Aunt Sarah, and Florida, and yeah, and she voiced the main female elephant, which I forgot her name is. If you guys know what her name is, let me know in the comments below. But yeah. So yeah, rest in peace to both Verma Velton and Walt Disney. Verma Velton was a great actress, and Walt Disney was a great filmmaker. And yeah, Walt Disney did great films like Snow White, Pinocchio, Cinderella, Fantasia, etc. So, yeah. So anyways, the elephants are great. And the vultures, they're great characters. And guess what? And the fun fact about the vultures in this film, the vultures were inspired by the Beatles. That's right. A big band that was huge in the 1960s. The same time as this film when it came out. So yeah, the Beatles were inspired, the vultures were inspired by the Beatles. And a fun fact, the studio actually wanted the Beatles to voice the vultures, but however, I guess the Beatles were very busy and they couldn't voice the vultures, which was kind of sad. But yeah. So yeah, that's a fun fact about this movie. The vultures were inspired by the Beatles, which was a big band was a big musical group from the 1960s. Same time as this film when it came out in 1967. So, yeah. So anyways. So yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool fun fact about this film. The vultures were inspired by the Beatles. So, yeah, and that the studio wanted the Beatles to voice the vultures, but sadly the Beatles couldn't do it. Couldn't do them. So, because I guess they were busy and they couldn't do it. So, yeah. So yeah, that's a pretty interesting fun fact about this film. But anyways, and of course we cannot forget the best character of this movie, Baloo, the bear. And Baloo, he is a great character. I love Baloo. He is easily the best character from this film. And I really love his song, The Bare Necessities. That was a great song. We'll talk about the songs in a minute, but yeah. Baloo, best character of this entire movie. And I will definitely have to say, Phil Harris did a great job voicing him. So, yeah. So anyways, those are the characters I can think of on top of my head. And now, let's talk about the songs, the music. So anyways, the Elephant March song, that was a great song. I Want to Be Like You, which this is the song sung by King Louie. I Want to Be Like You. I Want to Be Like You is a great song. You know, that's the song sung by King Louie. King Louie. And, yep. Trust in Me is a great song too. Which is sung by Called the Snake. Trust in Me is a great song, and My Own Home was a very beautiful song, and it was sung by the little girl from the Men Village. And we wait to find out in the 2004 sequel, The Jungle Book 2, the girl's main reveal, and her name was Shanti. So, yeah. Yeah. The girl's name wasn't revealed until the 2003 sequel, The Jungle Book 2. Her name was Shanti. So, yeah. And The Jungle Book 2 was actually a pretty good sequel, but not as good as this film for sure. So, yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, My Own Home was a very beautiful song, you know, where Mowgli finally went back to the Men Village. And yeah. And of course, we cannot forget the most iconic song from this film, The Bare Necessities. Again, easily the best song from this film. The Bare Necessities is a great song. And one of my personal favorite Disney songs, too. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I have to say, Phil Harris did a great job voicing Baloo and singing The Bare Necessities. So, yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed all the songs. I love all the songs from this film. And almost forgot one more song. That's What Friends Are For. The ones that was sung by the Vultures. That was a great song too. So yeah. Sorry I forgot to mention that song. So, yeah. All the songs in this movie were great. I love this movie. And the music in it too. So, yeah. And also, this film does also have a live-action remake that came out in 2016, which stars Bill Murray as Baloo. Which, I remember seeing the live-action remake starring Bill Murray in theaters when it came out in 2016. I saw it in theaters with my brother, my dad, and I think my stepmom. So, yeah. Yeah, I really liked the live action remake to The Jungle Book starring Bill Murray. But the original 1967 classic is a lot better. I do enjoy the live action remake from 2016, but I think I prefer the original. So, yeah. Yeah, and I think Phil Harris did a great job, did a better Baloo. I'm not saying Bill Murray's Baloo was bad. I think Bill Murray did a great job in the live action remake, but I think I prefer Phil Harris Baloo, the animated Baloo, rather than the live action Baloo who was voiced by Bill Murray. But yeah, don't get me wrong, I do like Bill Murray's Baloo, and I do like Bill Murray in general, but I think I prefer this Baloo right here on the cover of this VHS. So yeah, I prefer this Baloo. So yeah, and also for the original Jungle Book, when we were I think when we're on our way to see this film, or when we're on our way home from after seeing this film, my dad told me and my brother that he actually saw the original Jungle Book in theaters I believe back when Disney was doing was fiasco re-releasing all their Disney animated classics, like when what they used to do like every 7 years. Maybe you guys around the 70s, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even early 90s. Remember when Disney fiasco re-released all their animated classics to theaters like every 7 years? Yeah, my dad actually saw. My dad might have. I think my dad actually told me he saw this film in theaters, and I want to say this. He saw the theatrical re-release because my dad was born in the 1980s. My dad was born in the early 1980s, and the first time this film came out in theaters was in the late 1960s, 1967. So yeah. Yeah, I remember my dad told me that he saw this film in theaters when it went on one of the theatrical. I want to say probably on one of the theatrical re-releases. So yeah, yeah. So yeah. So anyways, yeah, that's pretty cool. My dad saw this film in theaters on one of his theatrical re-releases. Like I said, when Disney used to do theatrical re-release most of their animated classics like every 7 years. And yeah, I really enjoyed The Jungle Book. I love this movie so much. I want to say I love it so much. I just really love this film. It's definitely somewhere in my top 10 or 20. So, yeah. I really enjoyed this film a lot. Great classic. So, yeah. But anyways, honestly, that's all I can say about The Jungle Book. So anyways, I'm gonna give The Jungle Book a 10 out of 10. There are absolutely no flaws with this film whatsoever. Like I said, this is a very special film because, again, this is the very last Disney film to be supervised by Walt Disney himself. So, yeah. And also, not to mention, this is the very last Disney animated film to be in the Silver Age. So, yep, we finally finished I finished reviewing on all the Disney animated films from the Silver Age. Now we're gonna move on to the next era, which will be the Bronze Age. So, yeah. So anyways, that is it for my movie review on The Jungle Book. And stay tuned for my next movie review, which will be on The Aristocats. But until then, see you in the next video. Bye.